Next guest is the co-founder of one of Silicon Valley's largest investment firms. Joining us right now is Ravi. Mhatre. He is the partner at Lightspeed Venture Partners. Earlier this month, Lightspeed led Anthropic's $3.5 billion investment round, valuing the company now at $61.5 billion. Ravi, it's great to see you this morning. I want to talk about Anthropic. Also want to talk to you maybe broadly, given what we're just seeing in the market this week and just all of the attention, especially on the Mag 7. So before we hit the Anthropic piece of this, and of course some of the Mag 7, by the way, are big investors in Anthropic, I'm curious what you see happening in the public market valuations and how you think that ultimately is going to wind its way into the private market valuations.
Well, public markets certainly have been a little more volatile the last couple of weeks. And AI valuations today, they do reflect the enormous potential investors see in the technology. There's also a lot of intense competition amongst investors for the very best AI companies because of the significant upside they see. At Lightspeed, we believe AI is going to be transformative, and the best AI companies, it seems very clear they should be able to justify their price tags over time if they really deliver on the groundbreaking innovations that the frontier of AI promises to deliver. And we think strong business models are also going to follow, starting first with really steep demand for consumption of the products. And over time, the business models look like they can rationalize as there's more and more consumption that these companies can enjoy as a result of the pre-training that they have to do up front.
So one of the big questions about this entire sort of space right now is obviously NVIDIA making a small fortune because everyone's actually buying with cash those chips. A lot of the businesses that are buying those chips or access to those chips aren't necessarily making money themselves. How long can this go on?
Well, I think what we're seeing is in 2024, there was a lot of experimentation by businesses and consumers. It was really developing a new habit, learning how to use things like ChatGPT. But all of the curves that we see for what we call consumption, as opposed to the training, which costs a lot of money even today, as the models every 18 months improve by another doubling or another order of magnitude, there's billions of dollars that will be required to train the highly intelligent models on the frontier. Right. However, once those models are launched, the amount of demand, ongoing consumption that can happen, that curve is increasing at a much faster rate than the cost of training the new models. So we think over time, those curves are going to cross, and when you get enough consumption for each of these more intelligent models, they're the margins that can be gotten by businesses for doing what's called inference as opposed to training. Those margins look like they'll be sustainable, and it's really about getting to high volumes. And we think that will happen. It takes time for these technologies to get absorbed into the market, and for businesses to integrate them into their current application stacks, for consumers to start changing behavior. So for all of those reasons, though, the front end of that, it looks like a kind of a tidal wave coming in of additional demand and consumption that we're going to see for these technologies. So I think as that curve starts to play out over the next even 6 and 12 and 18 months, you will start to see that the ability to make margin from doing inference on these NVIDIA chips is going to be there for businesses that are selling AI.
Hey, Ravi, you have an investment in Anthropic, as we mentioned, but also in xAI and in Mistral. How do you see them being different? Is this just let's bet on a bunch of them and see where they go when everything shakes out and it's all over? How many large language models do you believe will exist?
We think it's emerging in many ways like the hyperscaler market, where each of the cloud providers, if you look at AWS, Amazon, or Microsoft Azure, or Google GCP, these all have slightly different architectures and serve slightly different parts of the cloud application market. And similarly with the large language AI model companies, we think there are going to be several winners. It's an enormous market. It's we think an order of magnitude bigger than just the core cloud computing market. And our conviction on Anthropic in particular, their focus, we've been involved for more than 2 years, their focus really is on the frontier of AI. They're not trying to build features. They are focused on scaling intelligence itself as the product. And that really has again, a different architectural focus. It's seeing how you build the smartest model. You really need to introduce capabilities early, things like agents. These are parts of an AI stack that can run very independently for long periods of time to solve the most complex problems. It starts to resemble what the kinds of business problems and technical problems that people in some ways solve, like coding, as an example, like being able to have an application where you could write legal briefs for a lawyer, you could listen in on a session between a doctor and a patient, and you could, the AI could immediately recommend possible treatments for the doctor to consider and fill out medical coding forms. So those problems at AI's frontier, that's where Anthropic has developed a lot of their R&D and their technical energy. I think a company like an OpenAI, they're more focused on the consumer segment where you're perhaps not as focused on all of these kind of most sophisticated capabilities and trust and reliability. It's more, how do you create an experience where consumers can use AI? Right now, the killer app is really for a better way to have an experience of using the internet for recall and for activities you do on the internet. So we think that there are going to be different places in the AI model ecosystem and multiple companies that can, can basically play in the market over time.